Want to sleep like an elite athlete? I know I used to want to. They push their recovery to the max in the name of high energy, mental toughness, and domination.
So why do they call you the GOAT?
But many of their sleep methods are interesting.
So Roger Federer claims...
Very much interesting. So, we talked about, on our last stream that we did, we talked about the exercises and we talk about the food that elite athletes eat. But today we're gonna talk about their sleep routine, because that's very important, because we already know that sleep is very crucial for our body, and sleep is something that we need, and definitely, and it's not gonna change. So the question remains, when you are functioning in your highest capacity, or you want to function in your highest capacity, so what is it that you can do to actually improve the quality of sleep that you get? Because whether you're an athlete or not, I'm sure we can learn something from these people, because not only that they have a team of specialists or a team around them, but they have specialized person and also they get in touch with the newest research of how to improve our lifestyle. So this is the reason why I'm actually having these videos here, these contents, and so we can actually take something from it and of course have fun. We want to have fun. We want to also take something that we could use in our personal lives.
To sleep around about 12 hours. Usain Bolt, the famous sprinter, slept somewhere between 9.5 to 10 hours a night.
Then of course, we've also got reports of Ronaldo sleeping 5 times a day.
Sleep is probably the greatest legal performance-enhancing drug that few athletes are abusing enough.
But claims and methods seem shrouded in dishonesty by poor journalistic communication and financial incentives. It's not helping with what's been dubbed a sleep loss epidemic.
And it is fast becoming one of the greatest public health challenges that we face in the 21st century.
What really goes...
I cannot imagine how people, growing up for me, having to sleep or sleeping has never been an issue for me, because, I'm one of these people that the moment that I put my head on my pillow, I can actually fall asleep, especially if I don't have, much in my mind that is actually, keeping me up. Because there's what I wanted to say is that I don't understand how is it that some people can just basically lack sleep or just cannot fall asleep. And this is the reason why we also, a lot of the time, we are not so fully energized and our days can be, suck because of that.
Into the secretive recovery routines of elite athletes. I went to the man who showed Ronaldo how to sleep with some of the most elite clientele for answers. Because the advice I've seen has always seemed over the top and, dare I say it, very suspect.
If sleep weren't a normal thing, it would be a banned substance. It is the most powerful thing that everyone has in their toolbox and so few people use.
This is what won me World's Strongest Man, 2007.
Okay, so many people, all of us have it in our toolbox, but so little people use it. I'm really wondering, okay, now you got my attention, because have I been sleeping? Have you been sleeping all wrong? Have you not been using sleep? Because at the end of the day, we all, whenever it's nighttime, we try to fall asleep. But is there more to it? Is there a way we can actually get our body to fully be rest?
See, this was the game changer.
What are we actually witnessing here? And is there actually any truth in this?
Sleep is the ultimate luxury.
It's time to find out what is really going on here. Lately, I've been extremely low on energy. My solution is to reach for the caffeine, which results in more tiredness, a vicious cycle that repeats over and over. The reality is...
Yeah, this sucks though, whenever this happens. When you're feeling really tired, but drinking coffee doesn't make any difference.
This is a norm for most people, and this cycle is encouraged by drug companies, social media, and the entertainment industry, with Netflix CEO stating sleep as their biggest competitor. This is not in your best interest.
The shorter your sleep, the shorter your life.
But when you look to the people at the top, it seems incredibly secretive and unconventional. You hear of Michael Phelps sleeping in an altitude chamber, Djokovic bringing his own hyperbaric chamber to the US Open. I mean, just look at some of these sleep facilities. The more you look into it, the more bizarre things get.
There's wristbands that monitor motion, will show when and how often his athlete's sleep is being interrupted.
It's essential for good performance.
It's to recover the bodies, to sleeping well.
So, sleep.
Even after months of research, I still couldn't make sense of it all. Until I came across this man. So, after promising an unbiased video on the topic to those inside my body transformation workshop, it was time to get to work. Over the next 30 days, I'll be attempting to sleep like an elite athlete, as guided by the sleep coach used by Guardiola, Ferguson, Wenger, and countless others, providing you with an actionable plan at the end. Now, you're watching this on YouTube because I believe this is extremely important for everyone to see. I have 2 blood tests. For the first, I took a month off all supplements, only consuming my regular diet. The second test will be after 30 days on all of these supplements while applying the advice. I'll track changes to cortisol, testosterone, magnesium, and many more biomarkers which can help with sleep. Now, before we go for a day in the life, we need to cover the fundamentals. Okay, so why was Ronaldo sleeping for 90 minutes 5 times a day? You see,
I believe he still does that.
those athletes view sleep differently. They view it in cycles instead of time. There's different crucial stages in sleep. The time to go through each of these is around 90 minutes. Wake up in the middle of a sleep cycle and you'll probably feel groggy.
If you start thinking cycles rather than I've got to get my 8 hours, then 5 90-minute cycles is 7.5 hours. There's that sort of optimum 30%. 15 minutes in, 15 minutes out gives you that sort of area of 8.
This is what Ronaldo seems to be doing, just in a weird way to fit his routine. But this doesn't explain the bizarre amount of sleep that athletes reportedly get. We've got Roger Federer, LeBron James, and Michelle Wie claiming around 12 hours a day. Why does it seem like elite athletes sleep for so long?
They might be allocating that amount of time to sleep, but whether they're actually sleeping during that time is a completely different matter.
Okay, but still, they are laying in bed. So I guess what he's saying is there's a difference between laying in bed with your eyes closed, because when we look at the different depth, so just like everything, there's always in sleep, there's a different depth in it too. Because let's say, for example, you just fall when you go to bed, when you're about to fall asleep, there's, you know, it goes in different depth. If you ever watch the movie, how is it called? Inception. It was showing the about depth of dream. But just like that, when we are asleep, there's different depth to it that you can get. The deeper you go, the more quality actually increase when it comes to your sleep.
I don't come across any athletes in my world, and by default other associated athletes like you've mentioned, where that's probably just a thing that's put into their marketplace saying, well, I allocate this amount of time to it, but whether they do it or not is another matter.
Yes, again, the same issue, or the same issue we were tackling of yesterday, because I was talking about the diet of elite athletes, what they eat, and the majority of them tend to eat a lot of different snacks and fast food or unhealthy food. So, and also LeBron James, he was saying that he eat healthy food, but it was 2 different stories. So basically, people around him saw what he ate and he was saying what he ate. The people around him were saying that he eats almost everything, or if not everything, and he was saying he eats clean. He eats chicken breasts with broccoli and rice and things that are healthy. But the thing, just like this example right here, you can say he sleeps 12 hours, but at the end of the day, all these athletes, they have a perfect image to actually keep up. So it might be, it's not 100% realistic of what they are saying. It's not 100% true. But the fact of the matter is, they have to keep their lives somewhat private in a way. It's also a competitive edge, because, you know, if you are competing worldwide and other people trying to take your place or your position, you also find a way you don't give them all your secrets.
So it makes much more sense to take reports with a pinch of salt and look at sleep cycles per week. When you choose to fit these in, it's going to be down to your own lifestyle, and this helps take the pressure off a bad night's sleep. The strategies you're about to hear come down to priming your body and environment to achieve this. You can't manage what you cannot measure, is the saying. Wearable tech claims to provide impressive insight into sleep metrics. In fact, in 2020, the NBA purchased 2,000 Oura rings for players to wear, as they can help determine when an athlete is about to be ill before symptoms. This is one of the reasons I've wanted one for so long. They genuinely look useful. For now though, I'm going to be using a basic sleep diary. Obviously, it's not as high tech, but I'll give you access to this at the end of the video. Just make sure to not be too obsessive.
There's already a medical term called orthosomnia for the increased anxiety and stress that's created by, oh dear, my sleep went down, my sleep quality went down, my deep sleep went down, and what does that mean for my day or the rest of the week?
This is why elite athletes focus on the factors which influence sleep, and this starts as soon as you wake up. Blue light is the first factor, which is important for setting your circadian rhythm to optimize your energy levels throughout the day.
It's not about just getting outside, it's not about just getting the nice fresh air and going for a walk. There's a hell of a lot going on here. And then when you get that really nice balance, wow.
It's why athletes prioritize getting morning sunlight, and Nick likes to install daylight lamps to promote wakefulness.
Because when your body senses sunlight, it shuts off the melatonin production, so when you wake up, you're not groggy. You literally just wake up like, oh, the day has started.
Now this sounds very Liver King-esque, but it is actually something to take seriously.
Light viewing early in the day is the most powerful stimulus for wakefulness throughout the day, and it has a powerful positive impact on your ability to fall and stay asleep at night.
Of course, light isn't the only energy boosting factor, with the record-breaking Liverpool 2020 squad and many others reportedly megadosing caffeine before games. Is caffeine abuse common in elite football?
Common, Josh. There has been a growing addictive behavior to a number of factors. Those are all the little things that you can access without prescription. You mentioned caffeine, sleeping tablets, melatonin supplements, CBDs. The list is endless.
This darker side is something you might have suspected.
You think of the pyramid, or you think of the iceberg, and above the sea line, you can see that there's been an increase.
Wait, okay.
In these things.
Caffeine, how is that a problem? Because coffee is something that is mainstream, that's something that everybody, corporate world, the West, it's something that we all tend to use. Even tea, it depends on the tea that you're having. Tea already have a low amount of caffeine in it, but still, there's still caffeine. And I'm really wondering, okay, one thing for sure is that it depends on the person too. It depends, because what I'm going to say is that when it comes to coffee, of course, you wouldn't drink coffee and then go to sleep. But there are people out there, they can drink as much coffee they want and then go right to sleep. And when they wake up, they feel more awake. But I don't know how their body tend to react like this. But these are some unexplainable situations that are completely unique to that person.
Being used for all sorts of reasons. When you look below, it's much greater and is growing.
Oh, really?
Much faster. You just can't, it's not being revealed as much.
What?
Below?
But at this point, it is fair to say that majority of people are using some form of pill. So whether for supplementation or for pain or for some illnesses, the majority of us are using some form of pill to improve our quality of life.
It's much greater and is growing much faster. You just can't, it's not being revealed as much.
Were substances a secret behind elite athletes' exceptional energy levels? Because I wasn't convinced it was sunlight. Interestingly, Federer's 12 hours of sleep doesn't come in one block, with 2 hours of his time dedicated to getting a 90-minute sleep cycle in the day. You see, we have a natural lull in energy around 2 PM, which is why Nick recommends a short recovery period here.
Just do something, even go for a walk, sit outside, play a few more chords on your guitar, because you never get time to do it, and don't think of it as a waste of time. It's a 30-minute slot. It used to be called a nap. It's actually a polyphasic performance recovery tool. It'll make you more productive. You'll get more out of your day. You'll stop wasting valuable time sleeping without benefits because your motivation, your mood, and all of this sort of stuff is in a much more harmonious place. So why is it the most important 30 minutes of your day? I've just mentioned enough, and there's even more.
Something you might want to consider in this slot is a caffeine nap.
If you're doing it every day, then you can do caffeine, bang. If you fall into a micro sleep at your desk or even with your headphones on where you're sat right now, then the caffeine will just slightly kick in as you're coming out of that 30-minute period. And then you can use things like light. But the more you do it, whether you sleep or not, the less you need those things.
But this all seems fairly simple, and my goal here is to maximize my sleep. So where are these more advanced techniques?
True.
Around one...
Because we already know the basis of, or the basics, which is just for going to sleep and priming yourself or having a sleep routine that you can stick with.
2 hours before we sleep, we want to start feeling tired.
So you very much think about moving from bright blue energy lights to diminished light, like candle, yellow,
we know that already.
That sort of thing.
This is why Harlan wears blue light blockers before bed.
Okay.
Not
I'm still waiting for new information here.
keen on looking like an Elton John tribute. Then consider bulbs where you can remove the blue light from. Just be careful not to accidentally create your local red light district. Now, of course...
Actually, I'm not sure if this is the same reason why, but there's one of my neighbor who just moved, I think this year. Wait. Anyway, now I'm not sure if it's because of they are using the same method, basically to have red lights, and at nighttime, when you're passing, imagine a huge window, and then all you see is just a big red, and you don't see the big red light, but it's just look red like this. And the only one in the entire block or the entire neighborhood, as far as I can see, you cannot miss it. Also, for me, I do have red lights, but them, their lights are on all throughout the night. Sometimes I'm really wondering, like, how do I know that? Yeah, maybe I pass by all through different hours in the night, and then I notice it. And I find that really, just somewhat something to mention.
There's many supplements which can seem extremely beneficial for sleep.
The one that seems to be, in my world, is magnesium
a knockout
and potassium. You put them together and they become quite powerful.
Of course, these in supplement form aren't essential.
Supplements can help with that process, but you can get all those little things that you need from a nice, healthy, balanced, semi-plant-based 5-a-day type of approach.
A lot of footballers seem to use supplements to help them sleep after late kickoffs.
Oh yeah, I'm going home, celebrate with the family, and have chamomile tea and sleep.
Really? Okay. After you finish playing such, it depends on the amount of time they've played, but I can imagine after doing sport, I wanna just shower, chill until I fall asleep, meaning it's the right time to actually fall asleep. And because you're exhausted, your entire body might be aching, you might get injured or hit somehow that is hurting, when you go to sleep, and when you wake up, okay, everything is gonna be fine. And it's a beautiful thing. But sometimes, you want to drink some tea as well. But the downside to that is that this is a good tea for calming the body. But the downside to it is that you have to try your best to drink as little as possible, or you have to time it again, because you don't want to go to sleep with your bladder full. That means you're gonna probably have to wake up during the nighttime so you could go and pee. So that's actually counterproductive. But yeah, chamomile tea is a good one for calming the body. If you're feeling anxious, and drinking chamomile tea, amongst others, would help you to soothe the nerves.
This is one of the things I took. Even though I am more skeptical when it comes to supplements, I took a fair few to test against a healthy diet.
Okay, let's see which one you say.
I'm more
Oh yeah, I'm going home, celebrate with the family, and have chamomile tea and sleep.
Yeah.
This is one of the things I took.
Okay, so what are these? Okay, vitamin D3, ashwagandha, zinc, magnesium. I understand the zinc, magnesium, the vitamin D3, of course, these are necessary.
Even though I am more skeptical when it comes to supplements, I took a
I wanted to see everything that he had there, his supplements, type of supplements that he chose, but I couldn't see all of it.
fair few to test against a healthy diet.
What would you say to people who are using like alcohol and drugs to help them sleep?
Good luck.
It's not a
A
good
lot
idea.
of products, including sleeping tablets, are available online without prescription. They just arrive in a brown box at your door. And if it's called a sleeping tablet, maybe that's what it's for, to help you sleep, just like a painkiller. But it isn't. It's a highly active drug that's only used to sedate and reset, and should only be used for a very short period of time under specific clinical reasons.
I do have a fair few cool sleep products now, but I still felt there was more out there. Was it the sleep environment? Federer made headlines when he rented out 2 houses during a competition.
Yes, sleep environment is completely necessary, of course, because it's where you're gonna lay your head down. So it's definitely important. Is ideally you want to have an environment that is cool, chilly, that is, and also dark as much as you can get it, because you know when you enter into your bedroom, you want to just basically your body already know, okay, I need to be asleep at this amount of this time. So your body should have the cue, or should be practiced that at a certain time that you should fall asleep, or whenever you climb your bed, it's time to go to sleep.
One for him, the other for his family, so his sleep environment was as optimal as possible. Before home games, Man City players sleep at their state-of-the-art $200 million recovery facilities. Then we also have hyperbaric chambers, backed by some fairly convincing evidence.
This is what won me World's Strongest Man 2017. This was the game changer.
This was my perception of elite athlete recovery. Secrecy, extortionate individualized approaches, and questionable product placement. It can be difficult to make sense of it all, but if you learned one thing from my mistakes, let it be to focus on things in order of importance. I strongly believe most people should invest more into wellness, but marketers like to inflate the importance of their products. Sure, they might help, but good sleep isn't something exclusive to the elite.
Sleep, unfortunately, is not an optional lifestyle luxury.
The way we achieve high-level optimized recovery is because we've gone down that journey, and we can sleep anywhere, anytime, any place, up the side of a mountain, hanging off a cliff.
What a lot of this comes down to is being in tune with our natural processes.
And it's not about fancy products. It is really if you can bring into your room in any way, through colors, visualization, sensory, anything you can do to make that feel a little bit more natural orientated, then what you do is you're able to adapt any environment to suit what you and your brain needs to optimize your recovery. And you take the emphasis away from the sort of, dare I say it, marketing bullshit that comes with.
And that's true though, because I can agree with him to a certain extent, because there's so many products, so many companies are marketing their products, their new discoveries to us, while a lot of the time, you know, it's a lot of the time just less is more, or less is better, you know, because that could be the reason why a lot of people are actually, you know, could not fall asleep, or basically mess up their entire sleep pattern. Imagine they're taking some sort of pill to fall asleep better, and then they become addicted to the pill, or meaning that dependent on it, that without it they cannot fall asleep. That's not really helpful, because anything that, let's say when it comes to sleep, I understand the gadgets that could help to track the sleep, but okay, so let's say you can track your sleep, then what sort of changes that you can make with that information? You know, I think a lot of the time companies just want to sell us their product, but a lot of the time it's just basically, you know, just there to take more from us than rather give us what we actually need. Because ideally, we just, people, whenever they invest in whatever their health issues they are going through, they just want the result that they actually came for, nothing else.
With a lot of products.
This stuff doesn't need to be expensive. In fact, when coaching the wildly successful UK cycling team at the Tour de France, Nick achieved blackout blinds by taping bin bags to the windows. I'm not suggesting you do this. Your neighbours will probably think you're a serial killer. But what I was hearing was drastically different to the headlines and advertisements. The media likes to shock you with just how important sleep is. I'm not going to argue with that. But if you think back to when you slept the best, it was probably when you were a kid. Now things have changed. When it's the highly individualized 1% gains which get presented to you as the secret behind athletes' careers, with marketers convincing you need.
And also, let's not forget that athletes are a gateway to communicate or promoting different products to us. Because again, athletes, we see them as let's say, a good example, for example. They are a good example, but a good example. And they are, a lot of people look up to them, and whatever they say, majority of the time, people tend to believe. So let's say if all of these products are given to them, because a lot of the time they are given to them so they can talk about it, or, because we don't know what's really going on in the background, or if they get in some form of some form of sponsorship to actually promote or talk about these products that they actually, maybe probably don't use it, or have used it, just a short period of time. They haven't done it for such long period of time. And what tends to happen is that people want to get their product because they saw an athlete use it. And this is one of the things we always have to be mindful as well, because not everything that we see we should get, and not everything that is, have the best description is the right description for us, for our need.
Sleeping pills to sleep. Sleep gets sensationalized, and people start to overlook the basics. Athletes travel to faraway places with many sleep challenges. They aren't all sleeping 12 hours a night hooked to machines with magical contraptions. Sleeping like an elite athlete is about being flexible with your sleep.
What's your secret? Because you're showing no signs of slowing down, Christian.
No secrets. Don't exist secrets.
Pioneering tech and supplements are great in the right situation. I've always loved this stuff, maybe a bit too much. But the second you become dependent on a ring, tech, or endocrinology to sleep, you've already lost.
Yeah. We have a lot of knowledge and a lot of research, and we have the ability to do so many more things, and it'll keep coming. But there's always that sort of thing that it's still a human being. And so you do have to step back a little bit and just go, let me just remind myself, I am Josh. This is what makes me tick. Fueling up, hydration, recovery. That's what makes me tick. And the more I'm in line with that, the better I'm going to be to deal with everything else that's coming along. And sometimes it is nothing more than just stepping back and reminding those things before you go off doing anything else.
Okay, so here's my results before the sleep experiment. All biomarkers were good. Yes, some of the metrics were improved further, with supplements maybe providing a small benefit, but a nutrient-dense diet was sufficient. My energy levels are now more stable and I'm less dependent on caffeine. But if I've learned anything from the months of research, individuality, consistency, resilience.
Wait, the thing is, he says he's less dependent on caffeine or coffee. But the thing we gotta understand, if you stop drinking coffee or you create a new habit of drinking coffee, of course your body gonna get used to the new habit, or you just basically gonna know, okay, he stopped drinking this or feeding me this. Now I need to basically listen to what he's saying. So that's one thing to keep in mind.
Be providing a small benefit, but a nutrient-dense diet was sufficient. My energy levels are now more stable and I'm less dependent on caffeine. But if I've learned anything from the months of research, individuality, consistency, resilience, that is how you sleep like an elite athlete. Master the basics and maybe, just maybe, you don't need that fancy product.
Okay, that was it. That was about sleep. And just remember that not every trend or every new gadget is actually useful for you, because I was even thinking about a smartwatch. I have a smartwatch, and you do know it has the sleep tracker in it. But if I were to put the watch, or even these bands that you could use to track your sleep, even if I were to actually use them to track my sleep, I know that would also disturb my sleep quality, because imagine for me sleeping with something on that's basically keeping my wrist tight. It's not gonna, I'm gonna be just half awake. And not that I'm such a light sleeper, but it will just basically, not feeling comfortable as it should, because when you want to get good quality sleep, you want to be as loose, as comfortable as you can be, so nothing actually really disturb that. But there's something we have learned from this, because one of the things we've learned from this is that don't get caught up in all the trends of new technology about us for sleep, or that could help us, not only limited to sleep but in general, but also that you have to find what is the best configuration that works for you, ideally for your lifestyle, because that's something that is very important. And just keep trying. Just make sure that where you're gonna fall asleep is the team should be sleep. It's like creating different teams in your house. You have the kitchen, you have your toilet, you have your living room, you have your bedroom. And the team, you should respect that team, and that could help us to not only to fall asleep faster, but to also get deeper quality of sleep and to feel rested when in the morning. So that was about it. Thank you for watching. Like the stream and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.